All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel again. Thank y'all so much for coming over. Now, a little while ago, I did a video on this. We're back on the Recollection Road channel. It says illegal now, but normal in the 60s. The other one I did was but normal in the 70s. Let's see how crazy it was. I know it's probably gonna be some stuff in here that I've seen from previous videos I watched on this channel, but when you think about how simple times were back then, and also like the stuff, like what is gonna make me go like, what? Y'all could do this? But yeah, we're gonna check this out. Again, appreciate all the love and support with you guys coming over. We ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
In the late 1960s, life was pretty much unregulated. The rules were just different back then, and we wouldn't have it any other way. But the things that seemed completely normal have over time become outlawed. So let's take a look back at all the things.
That better be a Coca-Cola or something. I know that boy ain't drink. Boy, yo.
Things we did back in 1968 that are now illegal.
In 68?
Back in 1968, turning 18 meant you could vote, get drafted, and in most states, walk into a bar and order a drink. It certainly wasn't unusual to see high school seniors celebrating their birthday with a legal beer.
Yo.
In some places, even younger teens could drink beer or wine legally, while hard liquor required you to be 21. Drunk driving laws weren't strictly enforced, and as
if you couldn't, if wine couldn't get you there. What?
Required you to be 21. Drunk driving laws weren't strictly enforced, and as long as you could walk a straight line, most officers let you off with a warning. It wasn't until the 1980s that the legal age was raised to 21, mostly because the federal government threatened to cut highway funding for states that didn't comply.
Hey. People still gonna do it.
If you grew up in the 1960s or 1970s, you probably rode in the back of a pickup truck at least once. Whether you were driving home from a baseball game or just cruising down the highway with the wind in your face, it was a part of normal life. No one worried about seatbelts, so the truck bed was often full of kids. Today, most states have banned the practice, especially at speeds over 25 miles per hour. But for those who remember, it was just another great thing to love about the 1960s.
I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I remember when my great grandmother passed away. My grandfather's mother passed away, and he went to her house to pick up stuff like from the garage, like tables and chairs, and he had a truck, and I remember him, we stacked everything in that truck, and I remember it was like higher than the truck, kind of like how they're standing up. And I remember there was like a chair, and I was sitting in the chair while it was piled on top of that stuff. This was in the 90s, and we just drove home. And I think about that like, dang, that was so dangerous, man. My grandfather was like, go and get out, go and get back there. I was like, okay. Boy, I was like holding on in the back. It was crazy, crazy.
It might sound unbelievable now, but in 1968, it wasn't strange for a high school student to bring a rifle to school. In more rural areas, hunting was a way of life, and plenty of teenagers kept shotguns in their trucks so they could go straight to the woods after class.
That's the one.
Some schools even had rifle clubs, where students practiced marksmanship under a teacher's supervision. A gun rack in a truck window wasn't a reason to panic. SWAT teams were never called, and teachers didn't think twice about it. Times have certainly changed, but back then, it was just another part of growing up.
That's the one right there. That is crazy.
Recollection Road is proud to partner with Legacy Box.
Oh my
If
goodness.
you've considered preserving your family's memories, then watch until the end of this video to see how Legacy Box can help you do it.
Jeez.
In 1968, chemistry sets weren't just educational, they were also adventurous. Kids could mix real chemicals, creating explosions, toxic fumes, and even small fires right in their bedrooms. Many sets included potassium nitrate for making gunpowder, and even uranium ore for testing radiation. Mercury was also a common ingredient, and plenty of kids played with the liquid metal, rolling it around in their hands without a second thought. Parents saw these kits as a way to inspire future scientists, but over time, the risk of burns or poisoning became too great, so the dangerous chemicals were removed completely, and with that, their popularity faded.
Yeah, man.
Fireworks today are tame compared to what kids had in the 1960s. Cherry bombs, M80s, and silver salutes were basically mini explosives that could take out a mailbox or blow a hole in a trash can. It wasn't just about lighting them, it was about the challenge of getting away before the blast.
Yeah.
Some kids even used them for fishing, tossing them in the water to stun fish. Parents warned about losing fingers, but that didn't stop kids from lighting another fuse. Eventually, the government banned these high-powered fireworks, but anyone who grew up with them remembers the sheer thrill and occasional terror of setting them off.
Well, they still got them.
Believe it or not, there was a time when cracking open a beer while driving wasn't illegal in many states. Some people kept a cooler in the passenger seat for long road trips, and drive-through liquor stores were a common sight. Police didn't pull drivers over unless they were obviously drunk, and as long as you could handle your vehicle, having an open container wasn't a big deal. It wasn't until the 1980s that attitudes changed. Today, even holding a beer behind the wheel will get you in serious trouble, but back then, it wasn't unusual.
What was the accident rate back then? Like, how many people were, or getting hit by drunk drivers and stuff like that back then? Wonder, is there a video on that? Because my goodness, man. People swerving off the road, going in ditches.
Kids in the 60s and 70s had some wild toys, and one of the strangest was Whammo's super elastic bubble plastic. It came in a tube, and you'd squeeze out a blob, stick it on a straw, and blow it into a big, colorful plastic balloon. The problem, the stuff was packed with toxic fumes, and you could feel it the second you opened the tube. Some kids would get lightheaded from playing with it. Although it was fun, most of us knew it probably wasn't safe. So eventually it disappeared from store shelves. But if you ever played with it, you'll never forget that strong chemical smell.
Dang.
Before the modern movie rating system, films in 1968 had far fewer restrictions on content, and what audiences saw often depended on the theater's discretion. Hollywood still followed the remnants of the old Hays Code, but by the late 1960s, filmmakers were pushing boundaries with violence, language, and adult themes.
Love that movie.
Movies like Bonnie and Clyde and The Wild Bunch shocked viewers with their graphic shootouts, while Rosemary's Baby delivered psychological horror that would have been unthinkable a decade earlier. Without clear ratings, parents had no real way of knowing if a film was suitable for kids, and many young audiences ended up watching movies that would easily be rated R today. Drop-side cribs were once a must-have for parents. The design let one side slide down, making it easy to pick up a sleeping baby without waking them. For decades, these cribs were standard in homes, hospitals, and daycare centers. But over time, it became clear they weren't as safe as people thought. The sliding mechanism could fail, leading to dangerous gaps where babies got trapped. After multiple tragic accidents, they were finally banned in 2011. If you were a kid in the 60s, you probably remember mosquito trucks rolling through your neighborhoods, spraying thick clouds of DDT. And if you were like most kids, you didn't run away. You ran into the fog, laughing and playing as it filled the air. No one thought about the long-term effects back then, even though...
What? Oh, y'all were wildin', man. Why ain't that DDT? Ain't that a damn wrestling move? Man, it said running into it. Oh, my goodness, man. And some of y'all coughing right now trying to figure out what's wrong.
The smell alone should have been a warning. It wasn't until scientists linked DDT to cancer that it was finally banned. Today, the idea of kids chasing pesticide trucks seems crazy, but back then, it was just another summer night.
Sheesh.
There was something special about getting a cold soda from a vending machine in the 1960s. The bottles were made of thick glass, and you had to use the built-in opener to pop the cap. If you returned the empty, you got a deposit back, something that encouraged kids to collect bottles to make a little spending money. But glass breaks, and plenty of people learn that the hard way when pulling a heavy glass bottle from the vending machine, making it a liability for soda companies. Over time, vending machines switched completely over to plastic bottles and aluminum cans for safety's sake. But the switch also saved them money because plastic was cheaper to recycle and manufacture.
It always tripped me out how it takes someone getting injured for them to figure it out. Like when all you guys are coming up with this master plan or just whatever to figure out the next move, like, yeah, let's do soda and we're going to do glass. Nobody is saying like, this is dangerous. This could break. This could cut. So like, you wait till it happen. And then you're like, okay, let's switch to plastic. That's just crazy to me, man.
Before bright orange tips and neon-colored plastic, toy guns looked real, sometimes too real. Cap guns popped like real gunfire, so kids loved to play cops and robbers or cowboys and Indians in the street, running around with guns that today would send a SWAT team rushing in. But back then, no one batted an eye, and police rarely overreacted. But as times changed and real-life incidents blurred the lines between toys and weapons, realistic toys were heavily restricted. Today, it's hard to imagine a kid casually carrying one into a store, but in the 1960s, it was just another afternoon of play. Recollection Road loves to recommend legacy boxes.
All right. Oh, somebody just came home. That was a garage. Look, man, when you see some of this stuff and you think about that, like the one that stood out the most to me was being able to bring that to school. That right there is just like, oh, I'm just thinking about like when you turn on TV and they say breaking news, and that's actually pretty wild. You know, like, are you just your parents taking you to school and you're just sitting in the car with it, and the parent is like, okay, bye-bye. Or you just walking to school with that thing with your friends? Y'all just got it over your shoulder. Comment below if you ever done that. Don't be shy. This was a pretty wild video, I ain't gonna lie. The DDT, just kids running in pesticide. Woo. You can't even get kids to run nowadays, let alone run in some pest. Hey, appreciate y'all coming over and watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. If so, go ahead, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.